What is up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Fast Break Tundra Baller. I'm excited that you guys are here. This is episode 8 of Fast Break Tundra Baller Season 2. So let's get things started. So if you guys don't know already, or this is your first time here, I am Mario Duenas. I am a 20-year-old sophomore at Cal State Fullerton. This is my second semester doing Fast Break Tundra Baller on Titan Radio. So I am a huge Clipper fan. I am in this section called the Swell, which is a section of the craziest, loudest Clipper fans. So if you've seen those people shooting free throws at Intuit Dome, the Clippers arena, and the opponents, and the fans distracting the opponents shooting free throws, that is me. You know, everybody does it at NBA arenas, but like the crazy distractions. That is me. We just stand, chant, and cheer for the Clippers. So yeah, we have a lot of things to talk about today. So we have some NBA news. We have March Madness, and then we're going to be talking about 3 Clipper games. Also, I make content on TikTok under the handle Tundra Baller 0, Tundra _baller _0. I post almost every day there on TikTok. For the most part, almost every day. There are some days where maybe I wouldn't post a video, but I'm trying to be consistent on posting a video every single day, good quality videos. And right now I've been posting videos for maybe about 2 weeks now, every day for about 2 weeks. But I've been posting consistently since the this current NBA season started, and I post vlogs of every Clipper game that I go to. I only missed 3 Clipper games so far this season, so I have attended about 35 games or so, including one preseason game, which was the only one at home. And I also post other Clipper related stuff, and pretty much I just post my experience in the Swell. So yeah, that's pretty much all the stuff I post. I also try to include other people in the Swell too. There are some videos where I interview people about different things that happened during the season, like like how do you feel about people saying the Clippers don't have any fans? Because obviously the Clippers have a ton of fans. If you go to the Wall or the Swell, it's all Clipper fans. You have to be a Clipper fan to sit in the Swell. And I also asked people about the James Harden trade, and then when the Clippers, when they went from 6-21 to a winning record. I asked people about that, and also about Benedict Mathurin. And there were also some special access I also had as a Clipper fan too. And I was able to go into the VIP lounge recently last week, so it was pretty nice. So let's get things started on some NBA news. So you guys probably heard about it already, but this is about Jaden Ivey. So long story short, he pretty much got cut after saying some controversial stuff. But here is some of the stuff that he said in detail. So in recent weeks, Jaden Ivey, he has been going on Instagram Live talking about his religious beliefs and other topics. One of the notable things that he's been talking about is calling out the NBA for celebrating Pride Month. He said that the NBA celebrating Pride Month is unrighteousness. That's in his words. Because of the way that they promote it on billboards and the streets. He also said that Catholicism is a false religion. This might be concerning for his mom, Neely Ivey, who is currently the head basketball coach of a women's basketball team at Notre Dame, which is a Catholic school. After these comments, the Chicago Bulls decided to waive him, which is his current team. They released a statement saying the Chicago Bulls announced today that the team has waived Jaden Ivey due to conduct detrimental to the team. So he didn't say exactly what the conduct detrimental to the team is, but we already know it was about the stuff that he said on Instagram Live. So after he got waived, he went on Instagram Live again. Some of the things that he said was that all he was talking about was Jesus Christ and about him getting waived. They apparently called him crazy and a psycho. And he also said that players like Stephen Curry, LeBron James, and Michael Jordan don't know Jesus Christ. That's in his words. He also said that he didn't get himself waived. He was rehabbing at the gym because he has been shut down for the rest of the season due to a knee injury, and they kicked him out on his side of the story. And during this Instagram live, he was on a plane, and when he was talking about all that stuff, a flight attendant told him to get off the live and switch airplane mode because everybody has to switch airplane mode when you're on the plane. And then the live stream ended. So there were some people around the team that released some statements about the situation. First was the head coach of the Chicago Bulls, Billy Donovan, and he was asked about it, and he said, "I hope for him he's okay. Organizationally, there's certain standards I think we want to have and live up to those each and every day." And also, one of his teammates, Josh Giddey, he was also asked about that, and he said, "Obviously, the whole thing is kind of unfortunate in a way. I hope he gets the help he needs. Whatever he's going through or not going through, I really hope he gets help. It's not going to be with the Bulls anymore, but whatever it is, I hope he gets it." So, a little bit of backstory for Jaden Ivey. He's currently in his fourth season in the NBA. He spent 3.5 of those 4 seasons with the Detroit Pistons, and he played really good for the Pistons. He averaged almost 15 points a game and a career high 17.6 points a game last season. At the trade deadline, he was traded to the Chicago Bulls in a 3-team deal with the Minnesota Timberwolves. So the Timberwolves, they didn't really get any picks or players. They only got cash. The Bulls, they got Mike Conley, and the Pistons, they got Kevin Huerter, Darius Saric, and a 2026 first round protected swap from the Timberwolves. And of course, the Bulls, they got Jaden Ivey, which I forgot to mention. And he only played 4 games for the Bulls, Jaden Ivey, and he hasn't played a game since February 11th due to left knee soreness and muscle weakness. And he was shut down for the rest of the season. Like I said a bit earlier, when he was talking about he was at the gym rehabbing, and then he apparently got kicked out when he got waived and when he was going through his rant on Instagram Live. So that's pretty much a lot of the story of the situation. And there was also reports saying that 20,000 Jaden Ivey jerseys got sold after he got waived. And those 20,000 jerseys that were sold, they were all in one day after he got waived. So this was pretty big for Jaden Ivey. So you guys know March Madness is already a big thing right now. Of course, the best time for college basketball. And right now we are in the Final Four. But there was this one game that happened in the Elite Eight that everybody was talking about. So in the Elite Eight, UConn and Duke, they met for a spot in for the Final Four. They were down 9 at one point in the first half, UConn. Duke was up by 11 with 8 minutes left, 9 with 5 minutes left, and 4 with a minute 31 left. So UConn, they were coming back a little bit. UConn entered the game with only 5 losses, and Duke entered the game with only 2 losses. So this was a pretty big deal, pretty good teams. Of course, it's the Elite Eight. So there wasn't really any Cinderella teams this time in March Madness, besides some first round upsets. But we were able to see some upsets like High Point winning, but yeah, and so they came back. So with 50 seconds left in the game, Alex Caravan makes a 3 for UConn to bring the lead to 1. Then Cam Boozer for Duke, he makes a mid-range, and it's a 3-point game with 28 seconds left. UConn gets fouled with 10 seconds left. Silas Damari Jr., he was at the line. He is shooting 2, so they were in the double bonus. He misses the first free throw and makes the second free throw. So It all goes crazy after this. So here's what happened. So after a make, Caden Boozer gets the ball, and then he is dribbling up. He gets doubled, and then he passes the ball. It gets tipped by Silas Damari Jr., the guy that shot for free throws, and it was caught by Alex Caravan and passes it to this guy named Braylon Mullins. He shoots the ball from 35 feet away, very deep from the 3-point line, and makes it to take a 1-point lead with less than a second left. Duke calls a timeout, and they have to go full court still. So they try to make a last second shot, and it was no good. UConn won 73-72. So this gives Duke their third loss. And a crazy fact was that in those three losses, Duke lost by a combined 5 points. So they lost to their to very close games. Their first loss was Texas Tech by 1 point. Their second loss was North Carolina by 3. And the third loss was the game we just talked about by UConn by 1. So 1-3-1, that's 5. So they lost by a combined 5 points in their 3 losses. So let's talk about the UConn a little bit. So this was the 6th largest comeback in NCAA history. They were down by 19 to win the game. And Duke became the first number 1 seed in the tournament to lose after leading by at least 15 points at halftime. Teams in that same position went undefeated with a record of 134-0 before Duke lost. And this is the third time in 4 years that UConn has a Final Four appearance. So let's talk about the guy that hit the shot, the big shot, Braylon Mullins. So I wanted to see his backstory, so here it is. So he grew up in a basketball family. He grew up with younger twin brothers Cole and Clay. When they were in middle school, his dad, or their dad, Josh Mullins, was part of the coaching staff for the Greenfield Central High School in Greenfield, California. This led to a tradition every year on Christmas morning in the school gym where they would pretty much get shots up. The head coach at the time, Luke Meredith, said that he saw Braylon shoot by himself every morning at 7:15, which was an hour before school started. He started to get Division I offers from mid-major schools such as Tulane, Toledo, Southern Indiana, Kent State, and Toledo, to name a few, the summer between his sophomore and junior year in 2023 when he was playing AAU basketball for Indiana Elite. By the end of his senior year, he became a 5-star recruit and one of the top 25 seniors in the country. His mom posted his top 10 list of offers, so pretty much his final 10 that he had, such as Indiana, Alabama, Michigan, Tennessee, Purdue, North Carolina, Duke, coincidentally the team that he hit the shot against, UConn, Kentucky, and Kansas. And then he narrowed it down to his final 3, which became Indiana, UConn, and North Carolina. He decided to commit to UConn before his senior season started. He averaged 33 points a game his senior year and won a sectional championship. He also won the Mr. Basketball Award, and now he is a starter for UConn in his freshman year, and he's been playing really good. And especially when he hit that shot, everybody know who he is now. So let's see how he plays in the Final Four and in the championship if they win. So for the Final Four, the 2 matchups are Illinois and UConn, and Michigan and Arizona. So Illinois is a 3 seed, UConn's a 2 seed, and in Michigan and Arizona, they're both 1 seeds, and they won their respective section region. So for Michigan and Arizona, I feel like both of them will be a good matchup. By the time you're listening to this live, you're already the game's already happened, but by the time I'm recording this, the game. So I'll be talking about these games next week. So I'm pretty excited to see how these games go. So you are listening. If you are listening to this live at 11 a.m., it is sometime at 11 a.m. right now. But I'm recording this at 12:30 right now on a Thursday, April 2nd. But if you are listening to this live, it is Saturday, April 4th. So we'll see how this game goes, and I'll definitely be talking about the game next week on Fast Forget Tundra Baller. So we'll see how this goes. I think UConn is going to be Illinois, and Michigan will be Arizona. And then for the championship, UConn and Michigan. I think UConn's going to win. I had Duke in my bracket, but yeah, they didn't win. So we'll see how this goes. Although I did have Duke in my bracket and they went up to the Elite Eight, my champion is done. They lost, but at the same time, I've kind of wanted to see UConn win because I would see all these clips about Dan Hurley going crazy. If you watch UConn basketball and follow Dan Hurley, you know how crazy he is. So we'll see how this goes. I think UConn's gonna win. So now we're going to be talking about some Clipper games. We have 3 games to talk about. So we are playing. So the Clippers are playing against the Pacers. The first game, so Friday last week. So Isaiah Jackson and Ben Mathurin, they returned to Indiana for the first time since being traded to the Clippers. So it was a 2-game road trip, the Clippers and Pacers. So 2 minutes into the game, Darius Garland, he already hit 2 threes. Started off good. Then a minute later, Brook Lopez hit a 3. So already 3 threes already. Like we talked about last week, the team has been really consistent on their shots. They've been making a good amount of them, 15 plus makes on threes. And in the Pacers, they brought the lead to 5 when Jarris Walker dunked on John Collins and he fouled, but he got hit on the back of his head, and he got hit hard on the ground. That's where he hit his head. He slowly got up and he got subbed out as a precaution with a made free throw. The Pacers were on a 9-0 run with a 6-point lead. Then they brought the lead to 10 with a 13-0 run before Kawhi Leonard ended the run with a 3. The Clippers weren't executing. They weren't making shots. They were turning over a ball, and the defense overall, it was terrible. Playing against the worst team in the league, the Pacers ended the quarter up 21 points. The worst team in the league, already eliminated from the playoffs. They were up 21 points against the Clippers. This was terrible. It was really, really bad. I was really mad. And I was like, what are we doing, guys? But I still believe we have came back from deficits like that before, so I believe that we are gonna come back. So the Pacers, they shot 61% from the field. They looked like they couldn't miss. They were 16 for 26 from the field, and they made 8 threes. When the Clippers were 6-21, they were really good at allowing the opponents to make a lot of threes, and it looked like the 6-21 Clippers at the time. They made 8 of 11 threes. The Clippers, they shot 8 for 27. So the amount of field goals they made from the field was the amount of threes that they made. So, and they made twice more field goals than the Clippers also. The Pacers, they made 16 shots. The Clippers, they only made 8. They shot 8 for 27, 29% from the field, and 5 of those were threes, 5 for 11. So at least they were making a little bit of their threes, 7 of those Pacers, they already hit at least 1 3. So it wasn't just like from 1 or 2 guys or 3 guys. It was 7 of them. 7 Pacers. Defensively, the Clippers, they were much better, allowing only 8 points in the first 6 minutes of the second quarter. But the Clippers, they did the same on offense, allowing only scoring 8 points. So it was 8-8 in the first 6 minutes of the second quarter. The Clippers, though, they started to gain some momentum and went on a 19-7 run to bring the lead to 12 after going down 24 in the first minute of the second quarter. So they were down 21 at the end of the first quarter, and then at the start of the second quarter, they were down by 24. So the lead was just getting worse. Or better for the Pacers, right? Pacers perspective, but for the Clippers, it was just much worse. But they brought it down to 12, so that was good. So with 2 minutes to go in the second quarter, Darius Garland threw a pass at the baseline, and he stepped back. Right, he was throwing a long pass to one of his teammates, and he accidentally stepped on a cameraman's foot, which led him to roll his ankle. He was down for a minute, but he stayed in the game for a minute. But he went to the locker room with 90 seconds to go in the first half. The Clippers, they finished the last minute 23 of the first half with an 8-0 run with 6 free throws from Ben Mathurin. Free throw merchant, just like Shea. Better free throw merchant than Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. And a steal and a dunk from Kawhi Leonard to bring the lead to 10 at halftime. So there we go, 60-50. So it went down from a 21-point lead in the first quarter to a 10-point lead for the Pacers at halftime. So things were getting better. They were coming back. The Clippers scored 29 points and the Pacers scored 18. And the Pacers, like I said, they made 8 threes in the first quarter out of 11 shots. The Pacers, they shot 1 for 5 from 3. So they only made 1. So 9 for 16. So it went from 8 to 11, 8 for 11 to 9 for 16 at halftime. So the percentage is going down. So there we go. They really cooled off. So Darius Garland, he came back in the game to start the second half. So he was all good. He made a 3 in the first play of the quarter. So he came back like he never left. They brought the lead down to 4 after Brook Lopez hit a 3 in the first 2 minutes. Then 4 minutes later, Brook Lopez hit another 3 to bring the lead to 2. So there we go. Then the Pacers scored 7 straight points to bring the lead to 9. A little lead, a little bit of momentum that they have now. But Jordan Miller, he brought the lead down to 1 after an and 1. But after the third quarter, the Clippers outscored them by 8 to bring the lead to 2 at the end of the third quarter. So this was really good. So from a 21-point lead in the first quarter to a 10-point lead at halftime to a 2-point lead at the second quarter. So things were getting a lot better. So the Pacers, they brought the lead to 9 in the first quarter. So they brought their momentum a little bit back. And Isaiah Jackson, he got a right ankle injury and he went to the locker room and he did not return. So this was very unfortunate because, look, we traded away Ivica Zubac, our starting center. And our backup center at the time was Brook Lopez. So now he is our starting center. And Yannick Cohen-Niederhauser, our rookie, he went from the third string center at the start of the season because Brook Lopez and Ivica Zubac was in front of him. But when Zubac got traded, he became the backup center, so he got more playing time. So Brook Lopez and Yannick Cohen-Niederhauser, they went up a spot. And then Isaiah Jackson, he was the third center. But unfortunately, Yannick Cohen-Niederhauser, he became out for the rest of the season. He got injured with a Lisfranc injury on his foot, a Lisfranc fracture. And now Isaiah Jackson, he's been playing really good and been playing as the backup center, but he got hurt. So now we only really have one center. So he got hurt and he didn't return. So this was really unfortunate. So later on in the quarter, Darius Garland, he got an ankle breaker on Andrew Nembhard, and hit a three in his face. That was a really great play. I was going crazy at home watching the game because the Clippers were on the road, but I was going real crazy. I was like, oh my God. And after that, the Clippers tied the game with 6 minutes left with a Ben Mathurin layup. With 3 minutes left, the Clippers struggled to make a shot. Aaron Naismith, he made a huge three to bring their lead to 6 with 1:27 to go. That was a really big three, and I was low key kind of mad after he heard that, after he hit that. But Darius Garland, he hit a three to cut the lead in half. And on the other side, Obi Toppin got a putback dunk. Then Kawhi Leonard responded with a layup, so back to a 3-point game. The Clippers got another stop, and Darius Garland got fouled on a rebound with 31 seconds left. And he makes both free throws, 1-point game. Then the Clippers got another stop and called a timeout with 3 seconds left. I feel like that. So Kawhi Leonard, he brought the ball down the court and tried to find a way to make a shot, but I feel like Ty Lue called a timeout a little too late. Just gave us a little bit of time. But the next play, it didn't matter because Kawhi Leonard, he got the ball, 2 dribbles to the left elbow, and made it and makes it with 0.4 seconds left. Wet ball, 1-point lead for the Clippers. Andrew Nembhard, and here is the ending of the year probably because with the last 0.4 seconds left, it should happen with one play, right? Well, think again because this ending was real crazy. The last 0.4 seconds, yeah, that is just a little bit of time. Like me just saying the word 0.4 or the words 0.4, it probably takes longer for me to say that, longer than 0.4 seconds. But just doing this, yeah. So Andrew Nembhard, he passes the ball in, and he tried to throw a lob close to the basket, and he accidentally made it. That's a turnover, and it's Clippers ball. And then they fouled Ben Mathurin before the ball was passed in. The pass already happened, so it wasn't one shot in the ball. So it was 2 free throws. And he missed both free throws. And he was told to miss it on purpose on the second one. And they called timeout. And there was 0.1 seconds left. Pascal Siakam got the rebound and called timeout. And with 0.1 seconds left, they try to inbound the ball. And Brook Lopez, he fouled Jay Huff, a 80% free throw shooter. So he is at the line shooting too. He can win the game by making both of these free throws. He missed both free throws to win the game. And when he was shooting those free throws, like I know I was at home, and it's not a game where I'm yelling at the players and distracting them, but I felt like I was pretending I was at a Clipper game. And I was like, "Hey, Swell, you want to see him miss, 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 miss?" I was literally saying that, and he missed those free throws. So it was the power of the Swell with those free throws. And when he shot the second free throw, I said, "Do it again, do it again, do it again," because that's what we say when he missed the first free throw. And he missed both free throws. So Jay Huff literally heard me, and the Clippers won 114 or 113. And in real time, the last 0.4 seconds, it took 9 minutes to finish, which was real crazy. So let's talk about some stats for this game. So Darius Garland, he went off in this game. 30 points and 5 assists. It was just a really big game, you know. And he went for 10 for 19 from the field and 6 for 11 from 3. And he is just really consistent, you know. Kawhi Leonard, he also made half of his shots, 13 for 26, and got 28 points. 8 rebounds and 4 assists and 3 steals, so all around numbers for Kawhi there. Brook Lopez, he had 3 threes, so like I was talking about last week, he's been really consistent in hitting more of those threes. Bennedict Mathurin, 17 points. He shot 15 free throws. He made 12 of them, but 12 for 15 from the line. But he shot 2 for 8 from the field, but it's okay. Most of those points was from his free throws. And now let's go to the other side for the Pacers. So they have Aaron A. Smith as their leading scorer, 26 points, 7 rebounds, and 2 assists. And he shot 10 for 14 from the field, 4 for 5 from 3. I remember I was watching the game and it looked like he couldn't miss. And Obi Toppin, he had 20 points, 8 for 11 from the field, 4 for 7 from 3. And then we have Andrew Nemhard. He kind of had an off game, 4 for 13, 2 for 7 from 3. And this young guy too, Micah Porter, he was hitting some big shots for them. He had two threes, but it was just like when the Clippers really needed to stop, he was scoring. So that's pretty much it for the game. And now we're going to be talking about the Clippers against the Bucks. So this was last Sunday's game. They're on the road again against the Bucks, and Isaiah Jackson, he did not play in this game due to the ankle injury that happened last game. So in the first quarter, there were 7 lead changes. Gary Trent Jr. scored 11 points in the first 6 minutes. He even scored 6 points in 10 seconds. He made a 3, stole the ball from Derrick Jones Jr., then he made another 3. The Clippers, they were up by 4 at the end of the first quarter, 29 to 25, and both teams shot 50% from the field. The Bucks made 20 of their 20 shots, and the Clippers made 13 of their 26 shots. The Clippers started the second quarter with a 5-0 run with a John Collins mid-range and a Nico Batum 3. Then the Clippers hit 2 threes from the Bucks hit 2 threes from Cormac Ryan and Taurean Prince to bring the lead from 9 to 3. Then Ben Mathurin got a technical foul, and the lead is now down to 2. Then the Clippers went on a 11-3 run to bring the lead to 10. Then after those points, the Clippers went on a 10-0 run, but the Bucks scored 5 straight points. The Clippers were up by 11, 57 to 46 at halftime. So, the Bucks, they are in the 11th seed, and they were playing, they didn't really have a good season. They've been dealing with a lot of injuries. They have Kevin Porter Jr. out for the rest of the season, and Giannis is out for the rest of the season. He has been in and out of the lineup throughout the whole season, and he might not play at all for the rest of the season because now they are eliminated from the playoffs. So the Clippers, they started the second half on a 8-3 run with 2 threes from Darius Garland and Derrick Jones Jr. and 2 free throws from Brook Lopez. After 63 seconds, the Bucks already fouled the Clippers 4 times, so they were in the bonus. And they kept going on a roll and brought the lead to 20 3 minutes later, but they got a little sloppy and the Bucks went on a 8-0 run. And then the Clippers went a 9-0 run to bring the lead to 23, and the Clippers were up by 22 after the third quarter. And in the fourth quarter, the Clippers and Bucks started tracing baskets, but the Bucks gained some momentum and brought the lead down to 12 with 4:15 to go. And then the next play, Ben Mathurin hits a 3 to bring the lead to 15, and then Gary Trent Jr. He's been playing really good. He had a good game, and he responded with his own 3 to bring the lead back to 12. Then John Collins got fouled and makes both free throws with 3:11 to go in the game. Then Cormac Ryan, he brings the lead to 11 with his 3. Then John Collins hits Jordan Miller for a layup. The Clippers get another stop, and John Collins gets a dunk to bring the lead to 15. Then Gary Trent Jr. once again, he hits a 3 with a minute 40 to go. Then Ben Mathurin gets fouled and makes both free throws to bring the lead to 14 with 1:28 to go. And the Clippers get another stop, and the game was out of reach for the Bucks. The Clippers won by 14, 127 to 113. So overall, there were some good for the Clippers, honestly, but I feel like we should have beat the Bucks by a lot more. When we talked about the Bucks game last episode, it was a really good game for the Clippers. They won by a lot of points, but this game it was just kind of sloppy, you know. They were allowing baskets, and it was just a lot of big. We could have played better defensively. We allowed 113 points, but still, offensively, we scored 127 points. I think we're a 120 point per game team and scoring 30 points per quarter. So let's talk about some stats. So for the Clippers, the leading scorer was Ben Mathurin. He had another good game, and he shot 14 threes. No, 14 free throws. Sorry, he shot 14 free throws and made 13 of them. So he shot 29 free throws in in 2 games. 15 against the Pacers and 14 against this game against the Bucks in this game. So he shot 7 for 10 from the field, so he shot 70% and went 1 for 1 from 3. He also had 6 rebounds and 1 assist. And then the second leading scorer, it was John Collins. He had 22 points with 9 for 13 shooting. A pretty good game for John Collins. He also had 3 rebounds and 3 assists. Kawhi Leonard, he had 20 points, 8 for 16 from the field. He played 22 minutes. So he did that in 3 quarters. Resting Kawhi. So maybe if he played a little bit, he maybe would have gotten a few more buckets. But still, a good game for Kawhi. And he made 4 threes out of 7 shots. And he had 8 rebounds and 2 assists. And then Darius Garland, pretty good game too. 5 for 9 from the field. He had 15 points. And he made 3 threes out of 7. And he also had 11 assists, so he was just dropping those dimes. And for the Bucks, Gary Trent Jr. he had a really big game. He was probably the guy. He was the guy that just kept them. That made a difference from them being down around 15 to instead of being down by 30 because he scored 36 points. He shot 12 for 21 from the field and made 9 of 15 threes, which is crazy. And he also had 4 rebounds and 2 assists. The second leading scorer was half of Gary Trent Jr.'s points. It was Taurean Prince, 18 points. He shot 7 for 12 from the field and made 4 more threes out of 7 shots. So Gary Trent Jr. he almost had half of the 9 points, or half of the 23s. I'm sorry, half of the 23s that the Bucks made, and he made 9 of those. And Taurean Prince he made 4 more of those, so both of them made 13 of those. And then the third leading scorer it was AJ Green, 15 points, 4 for 8 from the field, and he also had 3 rebounds and 3 assists. So now moving on to the next game that we're going to be talking about, it is last Wednesday's game against the Blazers. So no, I'm sorry, last Tuesday's game against the Blazers. So 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 you're listening to this on a Saturday at 11 a.m. if you are listening to this live. And last I'm recording this on a Thursday. It is 1:30 right now on a Thursday. And so right now, the date I'm recording this, the Clippers are playing against the Spurs later because I have to turn in my episode at 5 p.m. every Thursday for my show to be ready to go on air at at 11 a.m. on Saturdays. So so yeah, I'm gonna be going to the game later. So I will be talking about the Clippers and Spurs game when next week on Fast Forget Tundra Baller. So hopefully the Clippers win. This will be a really big game. So now we're gonna be talking about the Blazers, the last game that we're gonna be talking about today. So the Clippers are playing as the Blazers. This is a really big game because the Clippers are a game and a half ahead of the Blazers for the 8th seed, and a win here would really give the Clippers a lot of breathing room to keep that to at least stay in the 8th seed. And the Blazers, they started the first 2.5 minutes of the game up 10-5. The second half of those 10 points was from Denny Avdia with 3 free throws and a layup. The Clippers took the lead a few times. They were up one with 140 to go in first quarter, but they ended the quarter down 3, 34-31. Drew Holiday already hit 3 threes for the Blazers out of 4 shots. John Collins, he already scored 10 points for the Clippers, and Brook Lopez added 9 more. And the Blazers already hit 7 threes out of 15 shots, so it's kind of like the Pacers game when they shot 8 for 11. We and they made 8 threes in the first quarter, and we allowed the Blazers to hit 7 in the first quarter. So we gotta have better starts. So the Blazers, they had a lot of momentum. It was really bad for the Clippers in the second quarter. Barely anything was going in for them. The Blazers were on a 8-0 run to bring the lead to 11. Denny Avdia got a layup and a 3 to go in, and Tumani Kamara got a 3. And after Darius Garland stopped the run with a layup, the Blazers went on another 8-0 run. So it was a 16-2 run. At one point, the Clippers were held scoreless for 3 minutes. They were down by 16 points at halftime, 62-46. So from 3 to 16, their deficit in one quarter. The Clippers got outscored by 13 points. The quarter score was 28-15. Only 3 Clippers started or scored in that quarter out of 9 players that played in the quarter. Kawhi had 6, Darius Garland with 5, and Brook Lopez with 4. So it was really bad. The Clippers shot 6 for 19 from the field. Each of those 3 Clippers hit 2 shots from the field. 1 of 8 from 3, 12%. And it was 31% from the field. And 2 for 5 from free throw line. So, those free throws, we gotta hit those. We are leading the league in free throw percentage. So we should be hitting them, right? But we were 2 for 5 from the line. Like at least hit 4. It would be really good if we hit 5. Denny Avdia and Tumani Kamara outscored the Clippers in that quarter combined. Denny Avdia had 10 and Kamara had 7. The third quarter started off good for the Clippers though. They slowly brought themselves back into the game, and the Blazers head coach Tiago Splitter, Hawks legend by the way, got a technical foul after Denny Avdia made a layup. It looked like he was arguing with one of the referees. With 6:45 left in the third quarter, the Clippers brought the lead down to 9 when Brook Lopez hit a 3. And with 3:44 left, Darius Garland made a layup to bring the lead down to 8. So they brought themselves back in the game. But whenever the Clippers responded, by going on a little run, the Blazers' response was even bigger. The Blazers kept scoring baskets, and after all of that work the Clippers put in to bring themselves back into the game, they brought the lead to 17, the Blazers. 91-74 at the end of the quarter. And the last shot of the quarter at the buzzer, Scoot Henderson hit 3 at the buzzer. Kawhi Leonard and Denny Avdia both scored 11 points in the third quarter. So the fourth quarter was a lot of back and forth action. The Clippers, they brought the lead down to 10 with 7:59 to go when John Collins made a 3. The Blazers, they kept hitting a bunch of shots though. Jordan Miller, it looked like, we were trying to make a last minute comeback, but Jordan Miller, he was really aggressive and kept attacking the paint. But besides that, he was the only consistent guy making his shots, and he finished the quarter with 12 points. Besides that, it didn't look like he had much help with the scoring because we didn't make a lot of our shots. Like besides Jordan Miller, it was pretty much him consistently making them. And the Clippers lost by 10, 114-104. And now, as of last Thursday on April 2nd, the Clippers are only a half a game ahead of the Blazers with 6 more games left in the season. So yeah, and the Clippers, they have their record at 39-37 coming into April 2nd. So 6 more games to go. And today, April 2nd, at the time of recording this, the Clippers are playing against the Spurs. So really big game. We really need to win this game. And we just can't rely on the Blazers to lose games. it would be great for the Blazers to lose games. Today, April 2nd, the Blazers are playing against the Pelicans, but like I talked about, the Clippers, they always have problems against the Pelicans. So how about today, the Blazers, they or the Pelicans, they pretend that they're playing against the Clippers today because since the Clippers have only won 5 of the last 15 matchups against the Clippers, so or against the Pelicans, so yeah. So let's talk about the NBA playoff picture real quick before we end this episode. So let's start out with the Eastern Conference. So the Pistons, they have a 4-game lead ahead of the second seed, the Boston Celtics, at 55-21, and the Celtics are 51-25. So with 6 games left in the season, they only need to win 2 to 3 more games to clinch that first seed. The Boston Celtics have a 3-game lead against the third seed New York Knicks, so they have a comfortable lead against them. But from the third seed and fourth seed is pretty close. The Knicks, they have a 1-game lead on the Cleveland Cavaliers right now. So yeah, the Knicks, I think they might stay there, or the Cavs, they might steal the third seed on the Knicks, but we'll see how that goes. So from the 5th to the 10th seed, it is pretty close. So with each team having about 5 to 6 more games left in regular season, there is a 4-game difference. So from the 5th to the 10th seed right now, it is the Atlanta Hawks with 44-33. They are leading it. And then the Philadelphia 76ers, they have the Philadelphia 76ers and the Toronto Raptors, they're in the 6th and 7th seed with the same record, 42-34. The 76ers, they owe the tiebreaker though. So the top 6, you are automatically in the playoffs, but in the 7th to 10th seed, you have to play in the play-in tournament to make it to the playoffs. So you have to play 1 or 2 more games to get yourself in the playoffs. So here is a run through of how the in-season tournament works. So in the first round, the 7th and 8th seed plays against each other, and the 9th and 10th seed plays against each other. The winner of a 7th and 8th seed game gets the 7th seed, and they make it to the playoffs. The loser of that game plays against the winner of a 9th and 10th seed. So if you lose in a 9th and 10th seed game, you are eliminated from the playoffs and you are going to Cancun. So the winner of that game, they play against the loser of a 7th and 8th seed game, and the winner of that gets the 8th seed. So if you're in the 7th and 8th seed, you have 2 chances to win 1 game, and if you are in the 9th and 10th seed, you have 1 chance to win 2 games in a row to make it to the playoffs. So it is pretty close. In the 8th, 9th, and 10th seed, it is just a 1-game difference. So we have the Hornets in the 8th seed, the Magic in the 9th seed, and the Heat in the 10th seed. So the Hornets and Magic, they have the same record at 8-9, and the 8 and 9 seed with 40-36. And the Magic, they are 1 game behind, or not the Magic, the Miami Heat. They are 1 game behind them with a record of 40-37. So we'll see how this goes. So we'll be talking about more about the playoff picture next week because there's only a little more. There's only 10 days left in the regular season, pretty much about 10 more days. So we'll be talking about next week for sure. So now let's go to the Western Conference. So the Oklahoma City Thunder, they have the best record of the league right now at 60-16. And then the second seed is the San Antonio Spurs, who the Clippers are playing today, the day that I'm recording this. And they're on a 10-game win streak. So they're 2 games behind the Spurs, or the Thunder. And they could get the first seed. There's only 6 more games left for both teams, and the Spurs are 2 games behind, so we'll see if they could do it. At the third seed is the LA Lakers, who is 8 games behind the Spurs, so they have no way of getting the second seed. But they could go as low as possibly the 6th or 7th seed, or the 6th seed already. They already clinched the playoffs already, so there's no way they could go in the 7th seed, but they already clinched the playoffs. The 4th seed, the Denver Nuggets, they they are 2 games behind the Lakers, so they could take that 3rd seed. A game and a half behind the Lakers. And then a game behind the Nuggets are the Houston Rockets and the Minnesota Timberwolves. So that is the 6th seed right. That is the first 6 seeds right now. But the 7th or 10th seed though, is not as close, but from the 7th to 9th seeds, it is a 4 game difference. The Phoenix Suns, they have a record of 42-34 right now, followed by the Clippers in the 8th seed at 39-37, a 3 game difference. And the Blazers, they're behind with a half a game behind at 39-38. And then 2 games behind them is the Golden State Warriors with a record of 36-40. So we'll see how this goes. So that is it for Fast Break of Tundra Baller, guys. I hope you guys have a great week, and I'll see you guys with more NBA news, more Clippers basketball, March Madness, and the playoff picture next week.